New York noise happening. Hey. All right. Perfect. We're going to let a few more people join the call. We've got our special guest today. Ron is here.
How's it going?
He is a stock photography genius, and many of you want to know how to make extra money in your photography businesses besides just the weddings or portraiture that you're shooting. And I firmly believe, and Ron does too, that it's never been a better time to make money as a photographer. And there's never been easier ways to make money. There's never been more ways to make money. There's never been more money in the world of photography than there is today.
True.
And so it's super exciting when we get to talk to you about ways that you can make money. So making money, we love it. But I don't know about many of you. Can you relate to start your business, whether you're a florist, a wedding planner, a photographer, and you just kind of sit by your inbox every day waiting for the inquiries to come in, and waiting and feeling a little helpless when they don't come in. You think, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to pay for those really fancy shoes that I want? How will I do this? Because if the wedding inquiries aren't coming in, then I'm helpless. And I know for me, I really started changing my relationship to my business when I decided I was going to take in a lot of different ways to bring money into my life instead of just weddings. When it was just weddings, it was a very stressful time. It was a very stressful time. And when it got bigger than weddings, when I was able to start diversifying and start bringing money in from different places, it helped me so much so that like when the weddings would slow down, I was able to still pay my bills and do all of those things that kept me from not being homeless and moving back with my parents at 33 years old, which is when I started my photography business. So I was much older than all of you, so there is hope for everyone. But I know that bringing in multiple sources of income, people can feel really lost and confused about it. And I talk about it a lot at my workshops, how I bring in a lot of extra money. But the way I made my first 6 figures, which was the first full-time year of my business, I went from $16,000 to $120,000, was really diversifying my income. And so we want to talk to you today about how to really diversify your income. So this is Ron.
Hey.
And Ron and I met at a concert from a mutual friend, and we started talking about money because apparently I just like to talk about money, and we started talking about photography. And you know, Ron's made a living as a photographer much longer than I have. He's also done stock photography where he can now get his basic needs met every month through passive income. So from what he's done with stock photography, he can have his mortgage paid. He has the bills, met. And it's a lot less stressful now for him as a creator. So in all that time that he had to create, he created an app that is a stock photography app called Flannel. A lot of you have heard me talk about this on other calls that I've done. Is he married? Yes, he's taken, and he has lots of cute kids. So with Ron, we want to talk about how you can start to build stock photography. What is it? A lot of you have questions. A lot of you are unsure about it. He's coming to Cuba workshop. That's why he's in town. We're flying out to Cuba on Sunday. And I asked him to write up a little description of stock photography to teach to the workshop people. And I was thinking like 3 pages with a couple of bullet points. The man comes to me with like a book that he could publish right now. I said, this is too much information and too much good stuff. You can't give this away for free. But he's so passionate about really informing people how to make more money doing stock photography. So those of you who are coming to Cuba, you are some of the lucky people who get to have his book on how to do stock photography. And he's going to be teaching you a one-to-one. He's also going to be at the Utah workshop, and he'll be doing an hour, majorly intensive hour on how to bring in your money. Sorry, question came in. Olivia, I will contact me later and I'll send it to you. So I got distracted by these questions. You guys send all these questions in. I love it. Keep sending them. Okay, so he wrote this book, and we're gonna talk about it at the workshop in Utah and here in Cuba, and hopefully our Tokyo workshop, which is still on, is going to be really around stock photography and really making that a passive way to bring in some income. So he has a whole plan, he showed it to me, of numbers where you can bring up to like $35,000 extra dollars into your year by just a few simple things. But I don't want to steal his thunder. So Ron, why don't you tell us a little bit about what flannel is and why you created it and all that good stuff that people might want to know about.
Yeah, so thanks, Darcy. Great intro. It's going to be tough to follow that act, but I think Darcy kind of talked about some of the issues that can come up when you're a creative. I think a lot of energy gets spent sometimes on the business aspect, and the reason why we got into photography was not to make money. Usually it's because we care about it, we're interested in it, and the fringe benefit is making money. A lot of creatives I know, they don't get carried by the paycheck. They get carried by the praise, by the satisfaction of knowing that they've been able to create something really special for their clients, for themselves.
And the freedom. For me, it was freedom. Right. I didn't want to be tied to a day job anymore.
Right. So for me, I'm not, I guess I was always inspired to go out there, and it was always a lot of work to find clients and to make it work in the market. But the big thing for me was I started getting burnt out. I know a lot of photographers deal with that. Some don't, or they just haven't yet. But for me, I've been shooting for 20 years. At the point that I was kind of reaching the 12, 15 year mark, I was starting to get a little bit burnt out because I wasn't taking enough time for myself. And in retrospect, I kind of see how I can be better at that. But my real objective was that got me kind of interested in stock was that, after spending 3 years of not wanting to touch a camera, I always felt guilty about that. I felt bad about that, and I felt like I was missing something. I started really digging in and understanding what might help me if I was to continue in photography, what might help me to feel more passionate and kind of reignite that excitement. Stock photography has been a great thing for me, and a lot of the stress that comes from having to figure out paycheck to paycheck, even in your own business, especially because you're running so many more, wearing so many more hats, doing so much more, it can be kind of sapping to your energy and your creative drive. So stock photography and really working on growing my residual base has given me so much freedom, and it's really kind of reignited that creative spark and that creative energy that I have, and it's made photography fun again, from the first time that I started. So stock photography is, back in the day, it was really bland, generic, second-rate shots that were, seconds from a shoot that you'd submit to an agency to kind of sell and to milk what you could out of the shoot. Today, it's a completely different thing. Today's stock is really about top quality, high-end commercial work.
Okay, I'm going to explain it for a second.
Sure.
Okay, so when you take the stock photography, a lot of you think I have to go into an office and I have to sit there and I have to photograph people shaking hands and handing business cards and all of that stuff. That's the old world of stock. So when you think stock, you think of going onto this boring website, taking pictures. I do that kind of stock sometimes, but you can make it a lot more exciting. What you need for today's stock is completely different. You can go to Iceland and you can take all of these stock photos and now have a place to sell them. The thing that's happening in the world is that people are not paying as much for their own artistic direction. Companies would rather hop on an app like Flannel, where you can hop on, look at pictures that are for sale, and then you can buy that picture and put it on your website. So for those of us who are photographers, we have our own photos, so we don't really ever think of that problem. But imagine like a startup company who needs photos of people working or needs photos of mountains. You know, let's say it's a backpack company. A lot of times the backpack company just needs some photos for their website of nature, of mountains, of something like that. So you can take a lot of your current travels, you can take a lot of your current passions, and you can turn them into money. You can turn them into photos that you license and sell right from your phone. Bam! Did you just have your mind blown? So all those photos that you're taking on vacation, all those photos that you're taking just for the pleasure of taking photos, there's a few steps you have to have, like model releases and other stuff. But if you can do that, then you can get money from the stock photography, okay? And we like money. There's a lot of ways to diversify your income as a photographer, but we're talking today specifically about stock photography and how to bring in more money. Okay, I stole the thunder from
That's good. Thanks for making that clear. So one of the things that we're really focused on here is I wanted to develop a residual income base for myself so that we could have, you know, the bases covered, the base bills covered, and I can focus more on the big ideas that I have. And so for me, I just kind of said, hey, how can I, you know, for a lot of years I thought, how can I make $5,000 or $10,000 in residual income? And for 15 years, I made $0. I didn't get anything towards that goal. And then one day I just kind of thought, you know, let me try something different. And I said, if I can cover my internet bill, my Comcast bill, it's $60 a month. If I can figure that out and have that covered every month, then it makes life a lot easier. And I can use that, what I've learned, to, you know, to cover the next bill. And within a month and a half, 2 months, I had that bill covered consistently. So that started my snowball effect of kind of learning how to knock down my smallest bills to my biggest, to the point where now I have, you know, thousands of dollars of residual income coming in every month. It's steady, it's regular, and it's consistent. I can rely on that. And I just have the peace of mind knowing that all my bases are covered. And now when I have a big idea, I can take a little bit of risk and creative time, give myself that time to work on something. So our goal really is to say, hey, if you're, you know, a lot of photographers today are making on average $30 to $40 an hour gross. So before expenses, and, you know, with spending an extra 10% of your time, 1 hour per shoot, you can be turning that into $100, $130, $150 an hour. And it's simple. It's really easy. It's accessible. And we can show you how to do that very easily by just, you know, making a few small adjustments and tweaks. So 10% more time, 3 times the income. It's kind of basic math.
So for right now, most of your bills are met. They're paid for through your stock photography.
Right, through stock photography. I have some other residual things that are happening as well. But yeah, I could, if I were to do it, it's taken me 2.5 years to get a residual base. I could do it again today in a year or less, and I could do it all through stock photography, and it'd be so simple.
Can I tell how many kids you have?
Sure.
And he has 9 kids. He pays for his whole life. And he has 9 children.
We live like paupers. Kids
They don't need
anything
They
fancy.
live in a beautiful countryside home, and his wife's a genius, and he pays, like, Ron can come with me to Cuba because he has freedom, because every month his bills are already paid with 9 children. So imagine what you could do with no children. I have no children, but I like expensive stuff. So we probably make the same amount of money. Let's be real. I could raise 9 children with what I'm doing probably. But he has his bills paid.
Yeah.
Paid. And it's through taking the photo shoots you already have and reworking them so that you can use some of that for stock photography.
Right. I shot portrait and wedding work for, you know, consumer photography for 12 years. And then I kind of started transitioning to commercial. So I don't do a regular shoot a week or a couple shoots a week anymore. And now I'm seeing that if I were doing that, it would be even easier. So I actually, it's harder for me to make money through stock photography than it would be for you. If you're already working, doing shoots, then making a few little changes can have a huge impact on your bottom line and can create a long-term earning rate for you, like an hourly rate it's just gonna make things so much easier. It'll steady out the booms and busts. Those winter months when people aren't hiring, when you have kind of that slog, you're gonna have a consistent, steady income that's coming in regardless. It's really nice.
Yeah, I have a stock photography job. I've worked every December since I started my job, and it pays about $10,000 every December, and that money feeds me through December and January, just in case I want to take time off or I want to go down to Australia and be in the summer, like just for that. So you can really, so what he's saying is he doesn't really shoot as much anymore, but for those of you who are actively shooting, you can take the shoots that you already have planned, and we can kind of teach you how to do those shoots and make money from them. So we're going to be teaching it at the Cuba workshop. We're going to be teaching it in May, and we're thinking of doing like a 1 day here in New York City, so that you guys can come and we'll show you. We'll go out on the streets. Last time he was here, you guys might have seen on the Instagram stories, we went out on the streets, we took our cameras, and we just got in touch with people and did stock photography. And we just, got in touch with them. We asked them right on the street. We asked strangers, and we started photographing them, and we got such amazing, amazing footage. So the way you would do that, I guess what we want to talk about next is really you start through downloading the app. So everybody go download Flannel app, FLANNL.com, or go to the Flannel website and put in your information, and we can send you some more information. It's a really extensive topic, and it can seem like it can seem overwhelming, but once Ron and I kind of explain it, I think you can see how you can start to make money. We could do an online class.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really, a lot of people ask me, how do I get started in stock? They think it's so complex and so complicated. There are a lot of different opinions or a lot of different information. I actually am really into meditation. So I'm going to use that as an example. A lot of people ask me, well, I want to do meditation, but I don't know how. Watch. That's a meditation, one breath, and you've done a meditation. It can be as complex as spending 30 minutes or 60 minutes focusing and meditating, or it can be one breath. But it doesn't have to be overly complex, and we can guide you through the first steps, which really, I'll be honest, if you're shooting regularly, which like I said, I don't have people coming to me and saying, will you take my money to make pictures for them? I've had that, and so that's kind of easy. You guys have an easy flow, a stream that you can draw from to start producing stock photography. I have to go out there and produce my shoots myself. I have to go and find the models. I have to find the themes and the concepts. The one thing that either way, whether you're producing stock completely aside from your consumer work or whether you're actually tapping into that stream, the one thing that it affords you is the ability to kind of go after the assignments that you want. So if you want to do a big shoot for American Eagle, you love their brand, you think you're going to get excited by what they do, you don't have to wait for American Eagle to call you and pay you a lot of money. Look at what they're doing. If you're inspired by their work, you're going to understand their visual language, and you can go out and start producing work that appeals to that kind of market and demographic and to that company. And that's going to be a lot more pertinent or applicable stock. It's going to be more in demand for the commercial market today. So a lot of people, then you go put it on a stock website or you submit it through Flannel, and you have a lot of people that would want to pay for that because it's on point. It's really on brand for a company that would be using it. That's a great way to start, kind of feeding your own creative itch and getting paid for it. So instead of waiting for a client that comes along and, a lot of times we take the job because it's got a paycheck attached. We're not thrilled about the company. We kind of amp ourselves up. Oh yeah, I could get excited about your brand, but it's kind of we're kind of using some of our energy to get excited about their brand. If we go after the brands that we're really excited about, we're going to help avoid some of that burnout and that slog. And at the same time, we're going to get paid really well to do it. So it's freedom. To me, stock photography, residual income is freedom. And that's what we want to help people find. And if you're, the hardest thing, if you're a shooter right now, the hardest thing you're going to have to do, and this, is so easy when you hear it, get a model release and keyword your photos and submit them to a stock agency. That's the hard part, which means that if you're shooting for a 10-hour or 12-hour shoot, you spend an extra hour and then you get the model releases at the beginning of the shoot, and you're ready for stock. It's simple. You're doing the hard work. You're doing the stuff that matters. Now just go out, and you'll fine tune and tweak your process a little bit to make it more, more applicable or more, higher selling stock. But that's all optimization. You can start submitting to stock today, as long as you make a few little changes. So we can help walk you through that, and then the other things that are going to really maximize to get your hourly up to $100, $150 an hour.
Yeah, so Casey asked flannel.com, the raw camera in your pocket. Yes, that is correct.
Yep.
It's a new app. We're looking for photographers to start submitting photos so we can start marketing it out to people who will come there and buy your photos.
In the App Store right now, you can get the raw camera. If you want to be part of the stock submission in the community, that's a private beta that we're in right now. So go ahead and submit your name through the form, or send an email to hello@flannel.com, and then we can start talking about bringing you into the community.
Okay, so what that means is you can download the app, and it's a raw camera, so you can shoot raw in your phone. So you can control the exposure. I'm doing this because that's how you do it on the app. You go up,
Up
and it helps you overexpose things and do things like that. So that's the actual app. But we're right now taking submissions. We need to look through your portfolio. You need to kind of submit to us to start building. Stocksy you can't really get into anymore. It's really hard to get into Stocksy.
Same with Getty and a lot of the big
Getty,
libraries.
with all of those big things. So we're creating a new way to get your stock photos seen and making money. Now, one thing I will say with stock photography, this is not a get rich quick scheme. You have to play the long game with stock. You have to really devote yourself to knowing what stock is. You have to devote yourself to knowing how to make great stock photos, to look at what's getting bought and, how to license them. And it will take time to build up a consistent revenue, but you could start doing it so easily right now with the shoots you already have planned. So you take those shoots, those family sessions that you already have planned, and you can turn a lot of that into stock work that you can get paid for. So we have a lot of ideas of how to make that happen. I know that a lot of you want an online class. We could do that. We might do that in the fall, but we really love getting hands-on too, especially in New York, because it's such a rich place for stock photography. So we want to know if you guys want to come, if you want information about the New York City workshop. We don't have the date yet, but we're trying to gauge interest to see how many people would come through to see it. So with that, do you guys have any other questions about stock photography? So Carrie, you said, what's an example of an image from a family shoot that would work as stock? A happy family. I can't tell you how many happy families are needed in stock photography. A smiling family, laughing, a mother and child, bonding, all of that could be stock photography. For sure.
And that's definitely the first step, is to get good images, akin to portraiture for stock. You can get more specific, and that's the great thing. 20 years ago, stock was you submitted your images to a book, a big phone book essentially for stock photographs, and it had a limited space, so you had to have really generic, wide appealing images. Now that we have the internet, you can have an image as specific as you want. It may not sell as broadly as other images, but if that's your niche, that could be what you love and what could feed you. So really it's a matter of saying, hey, what is the market needing? The best way to do that, we can walk you through some of those processes and how to find out exactly what's in demand right now, what's hot, what people are looking for, and how to get the images that are going to be, best sellers in combination with what you love to produce. So we can find kind of that happy place, that happy medium where you can do what you love, but also have it be marketable to the industry. And that's it's probably one of the biggest questions I get is, how do I know what to produce? Well, we can spell out some really simple ways for you to dial in. It's not rocket science, but it is a little bit of kind of thinking and knowing what tools are available to identify what's out there, and then what you can use from your own skill set and talents and desire, your own passion to produce imagery that's going to sell.
Another way to produce is to travel. We're going to Cuba, and we're spending one whole afternoon shooting stock photography to really help build that portfolio. I'm heading to Croatia this year for the Path workshops. I might bring Ron along. We'll have to see how it goes, but it's 6 days on a boat, 6 different islands, and we're going to talk a lot about stock photography in that workshop as well. I have 2 more openings for the Utah workshop. That's it. Then it is sold out. That is May 7th and 8th and 9th. Ron will be there in person. He's the last speaker of the day for the business day so that he can really dive in deep and answer any questions that you guys have about stock. And we're going to go through, for that workshop, we're going to go through exactly what steps to take to build a lot of this stuff. So where you should email to be considered for the community is hello@flannel.com. Yeah?
Yep. And the website is flannel.com. And, people ask, what is the best, type of photography? We're not looking for the generic shots on white. We want real world, lively, emotional, emotive images.
Yeah.
That could be happy, sad. It could be, dramatic. It could be really kind of blasé, as long as there's, it's technically good and it's interesting. That's kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah, and we'll go through like a slideshow of samples and stuff when we talk about it.
Have I told you that I don't get seasick?
Oh, good. I don't know if I do or not. I hope not. I don't know. I'm 6 days on a
little
boat.
Pitch for Croatia. That's all.
I see. It's fine. I know. Come to Croatia. Yeah. It's true. It's true. You're invited. You and your wife come. Not the 9 kids though. No. Okay. So to email to be considered, it's hello@flannel FLANNL.com. So hello@flannel.com, and we can talk about that. Download the app. The way you sell the stock photography, that is in beta testing, so you won't have immediate access to that right now, but we could choose you as one of the people that we want to start being our guinea pig. It's exciting. Do you ever have clients who have an issue with you possibly selling their photos for stock? Not when I am very clear what I'm going to do and get model releases. Yeah. So you're not hiding this from them.
Right.
You're not going to take a shoot and then go, hey, and then one day they see their faces on a billboard like, why are my family photos up there? No, you're very upfront. Become really good at telling them why. So, and we have a couple of tricks for that of how to get people to say yes that we will teach you in the workshop.
I've had 1 or 2
Samantha,
people.
I volunteer as tribute. I love you, Samantha and Reed. Hi. Also, I wanted to talk about, so Samantha, Orange Photography, she's one of my coaching clients. When you're a coaching client, I work through your own specific kind of plan. If you want to start doing some more stock photography, we can talk more about that. I can work with you on a specific plan. What I really love is just helping my clients really see all the ways that they can bring in money. So stock photography, weddings, other things, like I just am really good at making money. It just like comes to me. So there are a lot of different ways that photographers don't network that. They really stick to one thing sometimes, and then they get really frustrated when that one thing isn't working. And I think it's better for a business to have more people, to have more prospects, to have not just weddings, but other ways that you can bring in money too. And I really love to game plan that for businesses and look at your business structure and see where you can start bringing in more additional forms of revenue with stock photography, and there are other ways as well.
Right. And do do any of you have that experience where you get a client that you really don't want to take, but you do, take them on because you feel like you need the money? A lot of times that can lock you into something that you're not thrilled to do, or it's even a bad situation. We've all had those clients that it becomes a train wreck. And what this does is buy you the freedom to be able to say no, to be able to say, this is what I'm looking for, to be able to really focus on your style, to advertise your style and market to the people that you want without feeling like you have to go so broad to take things that you're not interested in. So it gives you the freedom to shoot what you want. It helps feed that creative itch and really helps you to get through those cycles of burnout. So
yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, I think that's it for stock photography. Do any of you have just general business questions? I could take 1 or 2 before I end the video. Maybe you don't. Did we answer all your questions? You're welcome. Oh, it's so good to see you. Is it Tamara or Tamara? I've really, really wanted to meet you forever because I admire your work like